Key Safety Systems Hazard Communication Procedure. Hazard Communication. SDS and chemical lists maintained on QS file at H, shared HS and E. Demonstrate how to access. Chemicals and work areas reviewed. Follow procedures for proper labeling and handling of chemicals. New standard labeling requirements and timelines. Review OSHA tab on SDS format and labeling pictograms. Health hazards that cause health effects upon exposure. Acutely toxic, chronically toxic, carcinogenic, mutagenic, teratogenic, sensitizing agent, corrosive, irritant. Physical hazards include any chemical that is a combustible liquid, compressed gas, explosive, flammable, organic peroxide, oxidizer, pyrophoric, unstable, reactive, water reactive. Hazard Communication Program must comply with Hazard Communication Standard 29 CFR 1910-1200. Hazard Communication Program. Written program must include a list of hazardous chemicals present in the workplace, SDS, labeling system information. Written program must include employee training information, information regarding non-routine hazards, methods of informing employers of other workers, contractors. Accessing HazCom documents. Workers must know how to obtain and the location of the Written Hazard Communications Program, lists of hazardous chemicals, SDSs. Protective measures, work practices, engineering controls, personal protective equipment, PPE. Safety data sheets, primary tool for getting detailed chemical information, must be readily available. Safety data sheets include chemical identity, physical and chemical characteristics, physical and health hazards, primary routes of entry, PEL, TLV, other exposure limits, whether it is a carcinogen, precautions for safe handling use, recommended engineering controls. Emergency first aid procedures, date of preparation, name, address, phone number of manufacturer, importer, responsible party. SDS may contain recommendations for ANSI. SDS also provide information regarding signs and symptoms of exposure, personal protective equipment, spill and leak cleanup, labeling information. Globally Harmonized System, GHS, of classification and labeling of chemicals provides a common and coherent approach to classifying chemicals and communicating hazard information on labels and safety data sheets. SDS format. The Hazard Communication Standards, HCS, requires chemical manufacturers, distributors, or importers to provide safety data sheets, SDSs, formerly known as Material Safety Data Sheets, MSDSs, to communicate the hazards of hazardous chemical products. As of June 1, 2015, the HCS will require new SDSs to be in a uniform format and include the section numbers, the headings, and associated information under the headings below. Section 1, Identification. Section 2, Hazards identified. Section 3, Composition information on ingredients. Section 4, First aid measures. Section 5, Firefighting measures. Section 6, Accidental release measures. Section 7, Handling and storage. Section 8, Exposure controls, personal protection. Section 9, Physical chemical properties. Section 10, Stability and reactivity. Section 11, Toxicology information. Section 12, Ecological information. Section 13, disposal considerations. Section 14, transport information. Section 15, regulatory information. Section 16, other information. OSHA Quick Card, Hazard Communication Standard Labels. OSHA has updated the requirements for labeling of hazardous chemicals under its Hazard Communication Standards, HCS. As of June 1, 2015, all labels will be required to have pictograms, a signal word, hazard, and precautionary statements, the product identifier, and supplier identification. A sample revised HCS label identify the required label elements is shown on the right. Supplemental information can also be provided on the label as needed. Each chemical must have an SDS. MSDS must be available to downstream employers from chemical manufacturers, importers, distributors. Labeling requirements. Labels warn of potential dangers. Labels are not intended to be the sole source of information. Labels serve as an immediate warning. Labeling requirements. Labels must be keyed to MSDS. Labels must contain the identity of the hazardous chemical, appropriate hazard warnings, the name, address of the chemical manufacturer, importer, other responsible party. Labeling requirements ensure that labels do not come off, become smudged, or unreadable. For hard-to-label containers, use signs or placards, process sheets, or batch tickets. Be able to quickly identify the general hazard of any material. NFPA systems identifies health hazards, flammability hazards, reactivity hazards, special hazards. Be able to quickly identify the general hazard of any material. HMIS systems identifies health hazards, flammability hazards, physical hazards. Hazards of non-routine tasks. Know what chemicals you work with and their hazards. Know the contents of pipes.